Well, hey, Merry Christmas, and hope you guys are enjoying Harvest at Home this Christmas. We're so glad you decided to join us whenever and wherever you're watching from. We just want to say thank you so much for just an amazing first year of Harvest Church. You guys have been awesome, and if you're watching online and you haven't come to one of our services or not plugged in South Carolina, we're thankful for you too for watching. As well. You can go to harvest.247 and follow us on Facebook and Instagram, and also subscribe to our YouTube page that you're watching on right now. Hey, Harvest exists so that all people may know Jesus and grow with Him. And so we are excited to talk about Christmas and a message for Christmas Day. You know, anytime my kids do something, or anytime my wife and I celebrate something, I like to share that news. Here recently, our middle child has begun to play basketball, and he loves basketball practice, and I love to take pictures of him in basketball practice, and because he's so determined, he's so excited, he's so joyful, and we like to share those to say, hey, here's what he's into, and here's some news. You know, Micah has started playing basketball, but you guys share news all the time as well, especially when something happens, like if your team wins the national championship, like Georgia did, you want to share that news, right? If you have a baby, you want to share that news. You want to tell everybody. If you got a promotion, you want to call people and text people and say, hey guys, I got a promotion, and you want people to be joyful with you and for you and all that. Or let's say you move into a new house, or you bring home a new puppy, or you get some sort of news, you get a new car, or whatever it might be. When you have something to share, you always want to tell somebody something. And there's something about the special moments in our life that compels us to tell others. We just want to. Whether it's taking out an article in the newspaper, whether it's passing the news through the neighborhood, whether it's posting it on social media, whether it's sending a text to someone, whether it's calling someone, there's just something about those special moments in our life that compels us to tell others. Well, today we celebrate something that significant happened, not just for me and not just for you, but for the entire world, and that's Jesus is born. And what we're going to find out is that as Jesus is born, that significant moment compels those that were involved to tell others. So let's join me in Luke 2, 17 through 20. And as we continue a Christmas story here today, and this is what it says, and when they saw it, they made known the saying that had been told to them concerning this child. And all who heard it wondered at what the shepherds told them. So the angels appeared to the shepherds and said, hey, there's a baby born, the Savior of the world, and you're going to find him in a manger. And the glory of God showed around the angels. And so the shepherds, who we know are the least likely people that you would tell, because they didn't have a lot of credibility, but they began to go and tell people. And people were in awe and wonder of that. But Mary treasured up all these things, and she pondered them in her heart. And the shepherds returned, glorifying and praising God for all they had heard and seen as it had been told to them. So we see this amazing moment, and we see one reaction of going and telling, and we see another reaction of reflecting on it. It's spreading news. Any news of any kind that come your way catches us off guard. At first, the news takes your breath. It leaves much to ponder. How did this happen? Is this really true? Is this really the way that it went down? What are the future implications of this event and of this news? And at first, we ponder. Then we tell somebody. So when we see the different reactions in the story, from the shepherds who were telling people and Mary who's pondering, it's exactly what you and I do. We hear news, we digest it, we ponder it, and then we tell. In this part of the story, what we see is the continuum of how news is spread. It's first received, then it is pondered, and then it is told. And that is an amazing thing, because despite the simple formula of how news is spread, the time it takes for an individual to move through this process is different, and that's what we see in the story. And it's different for you, and it's different for me, and how we process news when we get it. So the shepherds process this news differently. Luke's description of the shepherds seems to indicate an excitement. It seems to indicate that they are pumped up, fired up, that the angels would come and deliver them news. And if you're not a credible source and God sends angels to tell you first, you're going to be excited about that. Because for the shepherds, they didn't get to share a whole lot of news. And not only did they not get to share a whole lot of news, they didn't get to share really, really good news about the Christ child being born. When we think about Christmas, there is a phrase that theologians will use. You'll be able to pronounce it. It's not some major Greek thing, but it's called the already not yet. That this season of Christmas is the already not yet. It's an idea theologically that we have already experienced salvation, but not yet to its fullest state. Meaning we have the hope of Christ, but we have not experienced it in its fullness yet. Despite having salvation, we still have to endure. Despite the hope of Christ, there's still much toil and pain that we must endure. And so, when we hear about the story of Jesus and the shepherds being excited, we also have to be reminded of the other side, the sobering side. That in just a few days, and maybe for some of you this afternoon, the lights are going to be torn down, the packages are going to be open, the toy that your kid has been waiting on is going to be broken, and all of this anticipation and excitement that we have of Christmas and celebrating the Christ child and decorating our homes and shopping and baking and singing songs, all that's going to be over. And the reality of our life is going to come to fruition. And there seems to be a little bit of a lull after Christmas, at least for me. I don't know about you, but there's kind of like a sadness. It's like, but it's over? We've waited all year for it. I mean, I wait all year for it. And now it's over. And now we get January, right? I mean, but that's what we live in. It's the already, the not yet. It's the small little glimpses of hope, the small little periods of time where we feel peace of Christ in the midst of the toil and the pain of life. And that is what the Christmas story, that's the reality of the Christmas story. Because there's a returning, there's an announcement and the news is spread and people are excited, but then there's a returning, right? Verse 20, the shepherds returned. They returned to their thankless job. They returned to their fields to take up their lonely posts. They returned to their arduous work. And for them, nothing has really changed, and yet everything has changed. For Mary, she has this baby, this miracle, but now she's living with a different responsibility. She's raising a child. The arduous and thankless job of being a mom is her new reality. She has to recover from giving birth. She has to endure the shame of being out of wedlock with a baby. She has the pressures of both being a mom and being a wife, and bearing the responsibility of not just raising a child, but raising God's own son. For Mary, so much has changed, and that change has added difficulty, a difficulty she did not have before. But what it also does is this story makes Mary and the shepherds relatable to me and to you. Because for us, if we have accepted Christ and made him the Lord of our life, the day in and day out hustle and bustle of life, nothing has really changed. And yet everything has changed. And for people who look on the outside at the church and they question it, or maybe you're watching this, you're like, I don't really know about this Jesus person, and you look at the church and you're like, but nothing has changed. In some respects, people have just added difficulty. But that's the beauty of the story of Christmas. That nothing's really changed, and yet everything has changed. But Mary and the shepherds, they're relatable. Just like you and I are relatable. They have new struggles. We struggle with things. They're navigating the normalcy in the aftermath of a wondrous miracle. And if we sit back and think about our life, from the majority of our life, it's just normalcy. Right? Everybody has to take out the trash. Everybody's got to take out the trash. We know this story. We relate to this story because it's our story. Soon, we're going to leave the excitement of Christmas and return to normalcy. Like I said, the house won't be decorated. No more parties to plan. No more shopping. No more travel or vacation from work. No more excuse to eat another cookie. And if you think about it, Christmas is this moment in the year, the already not yet, where we already have the hope and the peace of Christ, but we've not quite grasped it to the fullest yet because we haven't experienced it in the fullness. And we have to have the hope and the peace and the expectation of Christ in the midst of the pain and the toil and the normalcy of life. The Christmas story in Mary and the shepherds is our story living in 2022, going into 2023. It's hope, it's the already, it's the not yet. It's the hope, it's the peace, it's the joy in the midst of the toil and the pain and the normalcy. And that's why the Christmas story is so relatable. Because it's our story. What they do and what we do is have a responsibility to show others how to navigate the ups and downs of life while carrying the hope of Christ with them. As the church, that is an opportunity that we have. When we go through ups and we go through downs, we have the opportunity to show others who don't know Jesus how to navigate those things with joy and peace and expectation. That's a privilege. That's a responsibility that Christ has given to us. I'll tell my boys this: when you know how to lose, you'll know how to win. Because oftentimes when we win, we like to gloat and we like to we're this. But if we can learn how to lose graciously, we'll learn how to win graciously. If we know how to lose and be excited for someone, we won't let it go to our heads when we're winning. And we have to show people how to navigate the ups and downs of life, how to navigate the already not yet as people who are trying to love and follow Jesus in the midst of the toil and the pain as we look forward to our heavenly home. And so what the shepherds did at the beginning of the story is something that you and I can do, and that's this: the only thing left to do is to tell. I mean, the lights are down, the trees are down, the stockings are done, and we've gone through Christmas and maxed out our credit cards and all those kinds of things. We've been excited and we've had parties and we've done cookies or whatever. But here's the deal: when all of that fades, when all of that's done, the only thing left to do is to do the thing that the shepherds did. The only thing left to do for me and for you is to tell. Our neighbors, the people we have family with, the people that we work with, the people that we go to the soccer games with, or our friends or whatever, the only thing left to do is to do what the shepherds did, is to tell. To tell about this hope of Jesus, to tell about the already not yet, to tell about the toil and the pain, and yet still having joy and hope and peace. The only thing left to do is to tell. I love Christmas trees. It's probably my favorite decoration. I love Christmas trees. And in the Nordic countries, Christmas trees would symbolize hope in the midst of a long, dark, and cold winter. So it wasn't just to decor, it symbolized something. It meant in the Nordic countries, when it's really cold and it's really dark and everybody's really frozen, and those winters are long and you get to May and all that stuff and it's still cold and dark, the Christmas tree lit up and it brought warmth and it brought hope. That is what Jesus does. That's what the birth of Jesus does. It broke through the night, the darkness of night, after silence for 500 years, and it broke through and shined the hope and the glory of God on the shepherds and on the world and gave it a Savior. And that's why Christmas is so amazing. And that's why the only thing left to do is do exactly what the shepherds did, is it's to tell. We get the news, we ponder the news like Mary, and then we go and we tell. The only thing left to do is to tell. So the question for you is this: who are you going to tell? Who are you going to tell? Who are you going to share the hope of Christmas with? Is it a friend? Is it a coworker? Is it a neighbor? Is it a family member? Who are you going to tell? Because we're all over the place and traveling and all that kind of stuff, but we're going to go back to normalcy. And in our normalcy, Christ says this: in your going, in your normalcy, make disciples. Tell others about me. The only thing left to do is tell. There's a great Christmas song. It's "Go Tell It on the Mountain." This is some of the chorus. It says, "Go, tell it on the mountain, over the hills and everywhere. Go, tell it on the mountain that Jesus Christ is born." The only thing left to do is tell. Shout it from the mountain, text it on a phone, say it over coffee. The only thing left to do is tell. It's what the shepherds did. They shared the hope of Jesus Christ and his birth with those around them. And they did it in the midst of normalcy, toil, and strife. They declared the message of hope, peace, and expectation. The only thing left to do is tell. So who are you going to tell? We certainly hope you have a Merry Christmas. Enjoy your family today. We'll see you in the new year. God bless you.